What Andrew and Tristan are accused of is using TikTok as a funnel to get customers, from TikTok and onto OnlyFans. This is confirmed in the indictment where Tristan says, we need to ensure that these successful TikTok days can translate into more money on OnlyFans. If you give a girl the power to make a lot of money on TikTok, you risk losing her. TikTok should be used to direct money to OnlyFans. So they wanted the girls to use TikTok not as a primary source of revenue, but as a sales funnel to get people onto explicit websites. And the reason why they were doing that is because the Tates had control of the women's accounts on the explicit websites. As evidenced by Tristan's own statement, he wouldn't trust any of the women on OnlyFans with their own passwords or any of the other sites that they were making explicit content on. I don't want to tell them they have OnlyFans. I want that money to be used by me and you. So this shows that they systematically had control over the victims' accounts to ensure that a majority of the revenue generated by the women was going directly to the alleged organized crime group and not the women themselves.
Women are the easiest program. You can trick women all day long, right? But I wasn't tricking anyone. I was just saying, look, you can make a bunch of money. I never exploited anybody. I never hit a girl. I never hurt nobody. I didn't have to raise my voice. I was a positively inspirational and motivating person. I was a pimp.
And by having control over their accounts, they also maximize the victim's dependency on the Tates and minimize the victim's autonomy. And luckily for Andrew, he has previously spoken about maximizing a woman's dependency on himself in order to retain women working for him.
When you start with a girl, you download OnlyFans on your phone. You take her ID pictures, her name, everything it takes to verify the account. You verify the account on your phone, and you control the account. So you are now in charge of her OnlyFans.
These girls will scam you. If you let them take full control over their accounts, they will run away. I like to keep the girls' passwords. I log them in and log them out. If you give the girl the password to her account, there's a chance she could run away and try it by herself.
So this case centers around allegations that the Tates formed an organized crime group with the intention of trafficking women to Romania and having them work for them, making explicit content online for financial gain, not just TikTok. But of course, if you ask Andrew, all he ever says is that the case is about TikTok every single time.
The case against me is that I pretended to love girls. You don't want girls in it for money. You want girls in it to be with you. To make them do TikTok for money. That was all I'm trying to get. Hey, like my goal, I used sex as a tool to make women love me so they obey me and live in my house to make me money. That's what I wanted. So I was a pimp in that sense. Like I was not trying to women. I was trying to get women to obey me. I realized that's easier. Like, if they like that's pretty hard to listen to me. So somebody else plant this on you? Oh yeah, the Matrix.
Human trafficking and helping girls make TikToks are two very different things. To put into perspective the severity of the alleged crimes here, one of the victims described herself while working for the Tates as an animal deprived of human rights who had no control over what she was doing. Another victim said that before her relationship with Andrew, she was a happy person, but after, she was unable to trust people or even have a normal romantic relationship. She felt constant pain and guilt. I'm no expert in psychology, but I would assume these statements weren't made because Andrew helped them with TikTok. There are 7 alleged victims in this case, and 5 of them have provided detailed testimonies to the Romanian authorities, which are all quite damning. There are multiple witness testimonies. The Tates electronics were seized, so the prosecutors have access to all of the Tates electronic communications, and the case also uses clips of Andrew and Tristan confessing to many of the crimes that they're now being accused of.
Never reach a girl to never. I tried it 100 times. I'm lazy. I'm a baby girl. She's really a hoe. She's done cam before. It takes every box. I'm like, before I bracket champ. They never do. No, anything more. No, you can this. No, you can that. No, you have to pretend they're offended. No. Never reach a girl to never. I tried it 100 times. I'm lazy. I'm a baby girl. She's really a hoe. She's done cam before. It takes every box. I'm like, before I bracket champ. They never do. No, anything more. No, you can this. No, you can that. No, you have to pretend they're offended. No. If I prove to you that's not a good girl. Fuck first. No, ever ask her to work for you. I've girls single once who shot test. Or do test. I test 2 or 3 times. I think 2 weeks after that.
One of the things Andrew is being accused of is using the Loverboy method to recruit women into his webcam and OnlyFans business. This strategy is essentially seducing someone under false pretenses such as marriage, and in that clip, he admits that he was intentionally misleading the women that he was trying to recruit because if he didn't mislead them, he wouldn't be able to get what he wants. A great example of Andrew using the Loverboy method to manipulate a woman into moving to Romania and working for him is what Andrew did to victim 2. He initially contacted her through Instagram in 2022, presenting himself as interested in a romantic relationship. He even told her during their first ever meeting that he was looking for a woman to marry, and through text, he would say things like,
"You have to understand that once you're mine, you'll be mine forever. A woman never leaves her man. I'll be the last man in your life. First, I need to see in your eyes that you can never live without me, and then I can trust you to show you everything. Can you be loving enough to be a wife, to be always by my side, wherever I go? Do not talk to any man except me."
Over time, he convinced her to move to Romania by saying that they would live together, but when she actually got to Romania, Andrew wasn't even there, and instead she was moved into a house with victims 6 and 7, who she described as brainwashed and do whatever Andrew and Tristan asked them to do. And after a few weeks, victim 2 realized that her movements were restricted, and she was only able to leave the house if she was accompanied by others. And over time, she was eventually convinced into creating content for OnlyFans, which she was initially very reluctant to do. And despite Andrew's initial promises of exclusivity and marriage, over time, Andrew's behavior shifted to a cruel form of manipulation, as at one point in the relationship, Andrew started referring to her as his slave, which enforces strict obedience, specifically in the context of someone being restricted in where they can go. Luckily, victim 2 was able to escape the situation in 2022 with the help of law enforcement, but ultimately, that is a completely unnecessary problem for someone to have in life. Nobody should require law enforcement to help them leave a job that they didn't consent to doing in the first place. And to add insult to injury, at that time, Andrew was actively teaching his fans how to use the Loverboy method to exploit other women in the same way he did to victim 2. And used
Reminder of captivity
is very. This one says dedicated to King Tate. This one says Tate owned. And what's most surprising to me is that this behavior of tattooing females is very similar to a well-documented practice, often used by human traffickers and pimps.
Survivors who get away from traffickers are often left with a permanent reminder of captivity. Tattoos or property, marking that show just they have a number, not a name, or who they belong to.
In addition to allegedly branding and restricting his female employees' movements, by his own admission, he would lie to and manipulate these women so they would continue working for him.
Your goal is to inspire a girl to make money and give you money. So the way you do that is you have to have some element of influence. And you have that element of influence. The girl expecting you to look up to you. Her believing she needs you. And this is extremely important. Because at the beginning she will need you, but then she won't need you. But you have to keep that fantasy, keep that dream alive that she can't do this without to ensure she doesn't do that.
So his necessity to work with the women was not through providing mutually beneficial value. His intention was to create a fallacy that the women needed Andrew to do an interview on YouTube, and I still don't know exactly what or who the Matrix are. The guy is literally fighting against an imaginary enemy. And I gotta give Andrew some credit, the Matrix is the ultimate gaslighting tool. Everything bad that happens to him in life can just be blamed on this inexplicable group, but anything good that happens to him is because of his general excellence in life.
To disagree with me and to step to me in any regard is to discredit yourself. Because if you cannot acknowledge my supreme abilities and undeniable achievements, then you're nothing but a hater. You're a hater. You're a little bitch.
And by positioning himself against this so-called Matrix, he's shifting the blame for his own actions onto the undefinable group of people, which allows him to create a narrative where no matter what happens, he's the target of an orchestrated injustice and therefore a victim. And this works because he's actually, this guy looks like he's about
Me, I'll do 2 or 3 versions a year. there is a tactic, which I'm going to share with you, on how to date a virgin.
Yeah, we're good on that, bro. This guy looks like he's about 30 years old in this clip, and he's giving lessons on how to go pick up virgin women. And I think the reason why Tristan used to be so openly into younger women is because they're less experienced in dating, which makes them more vulnerable to manipulation and false promises.
One of my main chicks has 200,000 Instagram followers, and I took her virginity when she was 17.
I love kids, Charlie. I love kids.
Tristan.
I would really not be screaming at the top of your lungs.
That's legal, by the way, here. I don't know if it's 18 years. Crazy country.
And the fact that Tristan would target younger women has been confirmed in the indictment as well. There's a text message exchange between Tristan and Luana from 2021, which reads,
She's good for OnlyFans. You won't teach her TikTok. She's desperate for money. Good. It's good that she's young. We can control her for a while. Yes/okay. I'll work on her.
again, it can't be that much more clear, but it's not just young women that Tristan treats poorly. Let's take a look at how Tristan treats a woman who literally gave birth to his child. In the indictment, it outlines how the child's caregiver was specifically instructed to not take care of the child if Abigail, the mother of one of Tristan's children, didn't make content for OnlyFans.
That's fucking haram. That's atrocious. That's disgusting.
Now, this could potentially not be 100% true as it's based on a witness testimony, but if I had to bet on it, I'd probably say it's true, given the fact that Tristan has a track record of weaponizing his status as the financial provider in relationships against the mothers of his children.
I had to, and this is actually, I guess this on live, but I had to downgrade one of the mothers of my kids from house. I need her to understand that you do not fuck with. And she was in a 4-bedroom rental house. I was paying rent, no bills, I paid everything. I said, okay, you know what? I'm not putting that way. That's cool. You have 30 days to get out of the house. Here's your new apartment. Well, what do you mean now?
Given the fact that Andrew and a lot of the proof I've shown in this video has actually been posted by Andrew's fans themselves in an attempt to market his courses. And given the fact that Andrew knew that he's probably done some shady stuff in the past, and that when he first decided to utilize this affiliate marketing strategy, he knew he was currently being investigated by the Romanian government, it was actually delusional for him to use this strategy to try and become famous. He was paying people to post clips of him to try and go viral, but he had no way to filter or curate those clips. For most people, that's totally fine. But if you're Andrew Tate, that is a recipe for disaster.
April. That was her name. That was her name. I was like, you're hot. So I messaged her. She's like, I'm only 16. I was like, give a fuck. No about me. 21, I don't care. Once you're 18, if you want to get yourself a real man, I know a guy.
You do.
I do, yeah. I do know a guy. You know, you said it looks like I'm in a teenage girl's bedroom?
Yeah.
To some people, that would be an insult, but to me, I find that quite flattering, to be honest. I walked in there and said, listen, I've committed multiple felonies. Am I going to go to jail?
Logically, if you know you've done potentially illegal things in the past, and you know that you've admitted to them on video, it's best to just be as low-key as possible. There is no rational way you can explain Andrew's actions in the order that he did them. Andrew is genuinely an idiot who thought that he would never get in trouble for anything.
If I fuck up and England wants me in jail, I can fly a Nigerian passport, or an American, or an English, or Polish, or an Estonian. I have so many passports. Well, you block them all? They can't stop me traveling. There's always a passport I can pull out. There's always a driver's license I can pull out. If you ban one, I've got another one.
So, although the end result of him using this strategy was extremely profitable, it also exposed his potentially illegal activities to a global audience. To ever have any sort of value is through nothing but speculation, which is driven by the greater fool theory, where investors buy it hoping to sell it to someone else at a higher price, despite it not providing any actual value to the world.
That's what meme coins are. We have a whole generation of youth who are just gambling.
Got that in the lottery, man.
That's it. They're gambling. We have people who are going to work, working in Starbucks, getting their monthly wage, and just sitting there choosing a random meme coin and gambling because they know their only way out is to gamble their way out.
The coins Andrew promotes are just gambling because their prices are mostly based on hype and not utility. So the only way to profit off of them is at the expense of other investors.
You can only sell it for $10 after buying it for $1 because someone's buying it at $10. Someone is out to lose. So you can't launch a coin and nobody loses. Why I haven't launched a crypto? I can make $10 billion today if I launch a crypto, but I refuse to do it because people are going to lose under my name.
It all started in June of 2024 when Andrew tweeted, "Everyone sending coin at time." But the main thing which makes me question Andrew's shift to Islam is that Andrew has opportunistically switched his religious positions to whatever benefits him the most at that time. When Andrew lived in the UK, which just so happens to be a generally non-religious society, he was a very open atheist.
God isn't real. There's no evidence for God. There's no proof for God. Every time I say this, someone comes at me with their proof, and they need to read the dictionary and understand what the dictionary definition of proof is. It's very difficult to prove something. It's actually difficult to prove gravity, let alone God, which doesn't exist. You can't prove something isn't there. God isn't there, so you haven't got proof for God.
When Andrew moved to Romania, which is a Christian country, he just so happened to be a Christian because he wanted to have powerful friends. And after he got his home in Romania raided for the first time in April of 2022, I think Andrew slowly started to move to Dubai to avoid prosecution, just like he did with the UK back in the day.
Where do you actually call home these days?
Dubai/Romania.
Okay.
But Dubai massively impresses me as a city, and the United Arab Emirates massively impresses me as a country.
And as you would expect, around the same time that he started to move to Dubai, he started to become Muslim.
Weren't you an atheist once?
I was at one point,
Yeah.
But now I'm absolutely and utterly completely religious.
Because you believe in evil.
Because I've seen evil.
Yeah.
I've seen evil.
What's your religion?
It's kind of like an interesting hybrid. When I'm in Dubai, I'm happy to be Muslim, and when I'm in Romania, I'm happy to be Christian.
Obviously, people are products of their environments, and Andrew is no different, but clearly, there is a pattern of behavior here. He was an atheist in England, Christian in Romania, and Muslim in Dubai. And all of those positions in all those locations just so happen to be the most socially acceptable and profitable for each particular place. And we have to ask ourselves, why would a fully grown man who intentionally moved from the UK to Romania to run a webcam studio and an OnlyFans management company suddenly want to become Muslim at the age of 35, just 2 months after he gets canceled and deplatformed?
Why would they lie? What would they have to gain?
On COVID or Ukraine, but simply because of his own actions.
You need to, as a man, adopt the mindset that absolutely everything that happens to you is completely and utterly your fault, whether it's good or bad.
In my opinion, the most important lesson that anyone can really learn from Andrew is the fact that your ego can never get so large that you get to the point where Andrew is at in life. For one singular human to have an ego so large that he thought he could move to Romania, escape justice, run his allegedly illegal empire there, then brag about it continuously, then sell a course on how to do it, then brag about how much access to corruption he has, and then later choose to become as famous as he did and still expect to walk away completely unscathed after all of it is just delusional. The entire plan, A through Z, was delusional. And although I understand that Andrew might seem like a smart guy at certain times, he's not. The guy has the IQ of a chimp, because the only reason why he thought he could get away with all of that is because he allowed his ego to get so large over time that he got lost in the sauce in his own delusions. And the fact that he allowed himself to become this far gone is a problem that he now has to deal with.
I'm the most misunderstood man on the planet. I really believe I am. It's crazy. There are people out there who truly believe I am evil. And I'm nothing close to it. I'm one of the most compassionate people you could possibly meet.
Most importantly, I think Andrew needs to stop being delusional. In my opinion, getting arrested for human trafficking and then claiming the entirety of the case is based on TikTok is just not a strong legal defense. It's probably best to just not comment on the case at all. Trying to cancel others because they had an opinion you disagreed with isn't a good look if you're going to be a free speech advocate, and calling it clearly, he can't even probably just aren't the actions of a completely innocent man. He also needs to stop lying as often as he does on video because clearly he can't even keep track of his own lies. The biggest problem with lying is that you need to remember all the lies in order to keep your story straight, and over extended periods of time, if you talk to a lot of different people, it's almost impossible to keep track of what lie you told to who and when, and at a certain point when you lie so often to others, you also start lying to yourself. As Fyodor Dostoevsky once said, above all, don't lie to yourself. The man who lies to himself and listens to his own lie comes to a point that he cannot distinguish the truth within him or around him, and so loses all respect for himself and for others. And in life, we are what we repeatedly do. Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, you're human. But when you start lying about almost everything, at a certain point, you need to be caged for that too. At the very least, when you lie as often as Andrew has, your credibility in the eyes of the general public should drop to 0, and that includes when he positions himself as some man of righteousness and a role model for the youth. He should have no credibility when it comes to those things.
At any point in human history, there's been the good guys up against the forces of evil, whatever they were at the time, and you've always been outnumbered and you've always been supposed to lose.
So you consider yourself the good guy in this situation?
I think that truth is instilled by God in all of us, and I think if you tell the truth, you're a good person.
If telling the truth is the metric which defines good versus bad, I think it's safe to say Andrew is not one of the good guys. By that definition, Andrew is nothing but a dangerously bad guy who knows how to act like one of the good guys.
You're not good. You just know how to hide. How to lie. Me, I don't have that part. Me, I always tell the truth. Even when I lie.
I prefer a real villain rather than a false hero. A real villain is honest about who they are and doesn't pretend to be virtuous. A false hero deceives and manipulates, hiding their real intentions behind a facade of righteousness. They gain trust from the masses, only to betray it through deception, manipulation, and exploitation, which to me sounds a whole lot like our friend Cobra Tate.
Demons operate from the dark, and we live in a world which is built on lies. We are living inside of the Matrix, and I'm Morpheus. Every single thing is a lie. Everything they tell you is a lie. Every system you're supposed to believe in is corrupted to the core. I'm in a stage of enlightenment outside of the Matrix. I'm like Morpheus. And I think if you're going to make or build a correct society, a fair and just society, you should at least do it under the guise of truth.
And that's the greatest irony of all. While he claims to be Morpheus, looking to help people escape the Matrix, Andrew is actually a lot more like Agent Smith. He perpetuates control, lies, and manipulation on a mass scale rather than freedom and truth like Morpheus. Andrew is the physical embodiment of the corruption and dishonesty that he claims to be fighting against. And all he's really doing when he's talking about the Matrix is pretending to oppose what he truly is. If you like this video, I know you'll love this one about Logan Paul on the screen right now.